Of this program, I want to understand a little bit of what happened in court today and what that means going forward. And joining me now to help us make sense of what took place at the High Court today is Professor Migai Akech, who's a governance expert. Professor, thank you for joining us on the program tonight. I would like to start by, so what a dramatic day in court, right?
Extremely.
You know, you start with one and there's a section of people who are in a celebratory mood, and then by 3 o'clock you issue a stay. So explain to us how a court can then issue orders in its judgment and then stay its own orders just hours later.
I thought what happened today was quite unusual, because so the courts issue different kinds of orders. So, for example, you can get an injunction stopping somebody from doing something. Or, in this case, we're talking about a declaration. A declaration is a statement to say either something is or is not. Either something has been done or has not been done. It is a statement of what has happened. It is the court just looking at the facts and saying this has either happened or not. So today, either the housing levy does not meet the requirements of the Constitution, or it does not. There are no two ways about it. So you cannot, on the one, say that we are declaring that the housing levy is unconstitutional, and then you stay the declaration. It's logically inconsistent in my view.
Okay. So
yes, it doesn't make sense to me.
I've seen some people say it's a legal illegality or vice versa.
It does not make sense.
Okay. All right. So,
and I can explain to you why it does not make sense.
Tell me.
Look at it this way. So we have said, and the court said that the housing levy has various issues. It is discriminatory, for example, because you're imposing it on those who are in formal employment.
Yeah.
And not those that are not in informal employment.
Right.
So how do you explain that? How do you cure that? By the stay. It will not make it if the 45 days that they've given will not change the fact that it is still targeting those that are in formal employment. Because what would be expected typically when a court declares something
discriminatory?
Discriminatory, for example, is that the person that is responsible for it will go and rectify that mistake, immediately rectify that mistake. What would that entail? That would entail passing a law or amending this law so that it conforms with the Constitution, so that it is not discriminatory.
Okay.
You know the law-making process, what it entails.
Yeah.
It would mean that we have to go back to Parliament and amend that law. Can we do that in 45 days? It does not make sense. If we say, for example, that the law is unclear, you listened, we all listened to Principal Secretary Hinga doing gymnastics trying to explain the housing levy and failing miserably, and we could see that because it lacked clarity. Okay. So if you ask, how do we administer this housing levy? Who is going to benefit from it? There is no clarity. You cannot resolve that in 45 days because you have to go to Parliament. There has to be public participation. All those processes have to take place. You cannot do it in 45 days. So the neatest thing for the court to do is to simply declare that the housing levy is unconstitutional and stop there.
Okay. However, they chose a different route. There was also what they said about the housing levy being, or rather lacking, a comprehensive legal framework. Is that something that can be rectified? Because today the president responded. He said they respect, the decision by the courts, and that they will be working towards, rectifying and ensuring that, it's aligned with the Constitution. But ensuring a comprehensive legal framework, that's possible?
It's not possible in 45 days.
Okay.
Because it means enacting a law. Either enacting a law or rectifying the various irregularities that the court has identified. Enacting a law is a process. It takes time.
Parliament is going into recess, aren't they, for the end of the year?
That is the other thing.
Yeah.
So you are not going to do it certainly not in 45 days.
So what happens next then after the 45 days? So we understand the Attorney General has expressed intent to appeal this. So what happens after the 45 days? Do we go back to court, and then does the court then pronounce itself again on this matter, or do they ask the government, okay, so what have you been able to do in the last 45 days? What's going to happen in January once this time lapses?
There's a lot of unclarity in all of these things, because there are some instances where a court can say that we are issuing a decision, but we are retaining our authority. We are retaining jurisdiction so that we supervise what the executive does. This court has not told us that it is doing that. There's something that we say in law that once a court has given its decision, it becomes functus officio.
What does that mean?
It means it has done its job, its functions are over, that is the end of the matter, and somebody else entirely takes it up. So for example, an appellate court will take up the matter. The court no longer has jurisdiction over the matter. And that is a typical scenario. So when a court then says that we've given you 45 days, you're asking yourself, has the court retained jurisdiction so that after the 45 or within the 45 days, it has some mechanism of supervising the executive to ensure that that which it wants done is done. It has not done so, not to my knowledge. So there's a lot of unclarity. And within this period also you expect that the petitioners will appeal that bit of the decision.
Okay.
Because they're clearly unhappy with it. I would be unhappy with it myself. Because as a lawyer, it does not make sense to me. Yes. So
appeal then?
Appeal.
Looking highly likely?
Yes,
I want to look
clearly
into
there's going to be...
Yeah, I mean, you know, at least on the side of government, particularly with the housing levy, well, I don't know if I should be asking a lawyer to look through a crystal ball, but just indulge me a little bit. How far do you see this going?
This one is going to the Supreme Court, definitely.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be a long wait.
It will
probably
indeed.
Probably sometime in April next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, in the meantime, status quo remains. Housing levy will continue to be... It
depends on what the appellate court, what the Court of Appeal does. Because these people are going to go to court immediately. I suspect that sometime in January, they'll get orders from, they will seek orders from the Court of Appeal. They may not get those orders pending the hearing and determination of the appeal. The appeal will be heard sometime in January or February. And the usual drama will ensue. Yeah,
the law is very clear, they say, until it is not.
It's true.
Thank you very much, Professor Migai Akech, governance expert, helping us make sense of what took place in court today. We thank you for your time and thank you for your insights on The Explainer tonight, explaining to us what this means and how far it could possibly go. Professor Akech, thank you once again for your time tonight. Now, let's get into some